Every morning before the city fully woke up, Nomsa Mkize was already on her feet. The sky was still pale and uncertain, that quiet blue that comes just before sunrise. The streets carried the smell of damp earth mixed with yesterday's dust. Nomsa adjusted the scarf on her head, wrapped her hands around the handle of her wooden cart, and pushed it into place at the corner of Kumalo Street, the same corner she had stood on for almost 3 years. She laid out her vegetables carefully, spinach tied neatly with string, tomatoes polished gently with her sleeve until they caught the early light, onions stacked in small piles, round and brown like tiny moons. There was nothing fancy about her stall, nothing extra, just enough to survive. As taxis roared past and shopkeepers lifted their metal shutters, Nomsa bowed her head slightly and whispered the same prayer she said every single morning. God, let today be enough. Enough sales, enough strength, enough hope to carry her through another day. Nomsa had not always sold vegetables on the street. There was a time, still clear in her memory, when she wore office clothes and carried a handbag instead of a crate. She worked as a cashier at a supermarket, earning just enough to keep her small family afloat. Life was simple, but it felt stable. She had a husband once. She had a home that felt safe. She had dreams that didn't feel foolish. Then everything changed in a single year. Her husband lost his job. Arguments replaced laughter. Silence settled where love used to live. One night, without warning, he packed his bags and left. No goodbye, no support, no promise to return. Not long after that, the supermarket closed its doors. Nomsa applied everywhere. Shops, factories, restaurants. Each rejection chipped away at her confidence until she stopped believing her CV mattered at all. Rent fell behind. Bills piled up. Eventually, she and her daughter, Ayanda, moved into a single rented room at the back of someone else's house. That was when Nomsa learned a quiet truth about life. Falling is fast. Getting back up is slow. The idea to sell vegetables didn't come from a dream. It came from hunger. With her last savings, Nomsa went to the early morning market and bought a small crate of produce. She didn't know how to price things. She didn't know where to stand. She only knew she could not go home empty-handed. Her hands shook as she laid out her vegetables that first day. People walked past her like she was invisible. Some looked at her with pity, others with impatience. A few stopped to ask prices, then walked away without buying anything. By midday, she had sold almost nothing. Nomsa sat on the pavement and cried. Not loudly, but the kind of crying where tears fall silently because you are too tired to sob. Then an elderly woman stopped, bought a bunch of spinach, and looked her gently in the eyes. "My child," the woman said, "don't give up. Tomorrow will be kinder." Nomsa didn't know if that was true, but she came back the next day anyway. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. Nomsa learned how to read people's faces, who would bargain, who would buy quickly, who simply wanted to talk. She learned which vegetables sold best in the heat and which ones wilted too fast. She learned how to smile even when her feet ached and her back burned from standing all day. Some days were good. Most were not. On bad days, she sold barely enough to buy supper. On good days, she could afford chicken instead of pop and cabbage. Every afternoon, she packed up whatever was left and pushed her cart home, shoulders hunched, body tired, but spirit still standing. At night, when Ayanda slept, Nomsa would sit by the window and dream quietly. She didn't dream of being rich. She dreamed of a small, proper shop, a sign with her name on it, a future where her daughter would never have to stand on a street corner just to survive. One evening, Ayanda, only 10 years old, asked a question that pierced Nomsa's heart. "Ma," she said softly, "will you always sell vegetables?" Nomsa froze. She wanted to say no. She wanted to promise a better life. Instead, she told the truth. "I don't know, my child, but this is not where my dreams end." Ayanda nodded, satisfied. Children often believe longer before adults do. The hardest season came during winter. Business slowed. People bought less. Vegetables spoiled faster in the cold. Some days, Nomsa went home with unsold produce and an empty purse. One afternoon, rain poured without warning. Nomsa rushed to cover her stall, but water soaked everything. By the time the rain stopped, her vegetables were ruined. She sat there, staring at the soggy spinach, and felt something inside her break. "What's the point?" she whispered. That night, she told Ayanda they might have to stop school for a while. Ayanda didn't cry. She hugged her mother tightly and said, "God didn't bring us this far to leave us." Nomsa cried then, harder than she had in years. Change didn't arrive like a miracle. It arrived quietly. A woman who owned a small cafe nearby started buying vegetables from Nomsa every morning. Then another customer followed. Then a man who ran a food stall. Nomsa began waking up earlier to buy better produce. She reinvested every cent she could. She started keeping notes, sales, expenses, profits, things she had never done before. Slowly, her stall became known. People began to say, "Buy from the woman at the corner, her produce is always fresh." Nomsa stood a little straighter. One night, she wrote something in a notebook. "This stall is not my final destination." She began saving small amounts, carefully hidden. She watched videos on her phone about small businesses. She asked questions. She learned. Her dream changed shape. Not just a stall, a proper vegetable shop, maybe even employing someone else one day. She no longer felt ashamed of where she started. She felt proud of how far she had come. One Saturday morning, a man in a clean shirt stopped at her stall. He asked many questions. He watched how she treated customers. Before leaving, he said, "I work with a community business program. Would you be interested in support?" Nomsa didn't answer immediately. She had learned not to hope too quickly. But when she finally nodded, something in her chest felt lighter. Nomsa still sells vegetables today. Her stall is bigger now, neater, busier. She is not rich. Her life is not easy, but she is building something. Every morning as she lays out her produce, she no longer prays only for survival. She prays for growth. And as the sun rises over Kumalo Street, Nomsa smiles, not because life is perfect, but because she knows this truth. You can start small and still dream big.